Hello, it's Molly Reamer, and I thought I would kick off our Year of Goddess Magic with a quick video explaining how I use the resources that I create for 30 Days of Goddess. I've had some questions recently about how to set it up, how to use the components, how to work with this system, this process that I've created. And the first thing I want to, of course, emphasize is that this practice belongs to you, so you can pick and choose as many or as few pieces from it as you wish. I'm going to show you how I use what I've created to help create a supportive and nourishing container for my own daily practice. And this is a container that I have used. It's 30 Days of Goddess was created at the end of 2020 and then launched in 2021. And I've maintained a continuous daily practice since then. And the practice has grown and expanded and includes more components now. And I've realized that for the people who've been around from the beginning, they've seen how all these components have grown and how they work together. But for people who are newer, it might seem kind of confusing about what's supposed to go where. So there is no right way, there is no behind, and technically speaking, there is no what's supposed to go where. You're welcome to use these resources in the way that best supports you. I'm going to show you how I use them and how, when I've created them, how they're kind of intended to be used, and then you can pick and choose what works best for you. Remembering that this is about creating a daily practice that supports your life, that holds and nourishes you, not something that tells you what to do or makes you feel obligated or bound down by a set of rules. So the first thing I do is at the end of each month, I cut up the materials for the month to come. So in this is actually a business card holder, but it's perfect size to hold the little cards. So I cut up the word cards of the month, which I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna be able to get out because it's very full at the beginning of the month because they're all still in there, and then it gets emptier as the month goes on. So I cut up the word cards of the month. Oh, can she do it? Aha. And I put them in there. And then I tuck the prayer cards behind them. And the prayer cards, there's prayer cards printed in the back of, all of the printed prayer books that you can buy on Lulu. There's prayer cards in the back so that you can cut up. Or there are decks, print your own decks available in the Etsy shop. Or if you are a member of the Goddess Magic community on Patreon, you'll be getting the cut your own decks every month this year. And so also a reminder that you can always go to 30daysofgoddess.com/101 for a practice overview and a how to use, etc. Some of the videos there are a little older, so they don't necessarily include everything, but there's definitely a good way to get started there. So definitely check that out. I also cut up the daily graphics and put those in order. So I put these in order. That's important to do, so you're not shuffling through all 30 of them every day to find the one you need. You can also choose randomly. Actually, in January, I'm using one of the Anytime Use prayer books, and I'm going to be choosing my words randomly instead of from the prompt list. But most people work directly from the prompts list, and so use the prompts list in the prayer book, or post it on Facebook, or post it on the 30 Days of Goddess website to put your words in order so that each day, as you get to the next card in your little packet, it's in the right order. And then ditto, if you are a member of the Goddess Magic Patreon, you also get a daily affirmation card, and you can choose to shuffle these up and use them as an oracle card for the day. I put them in order, again, based on the words from the prompts list, and I put them in order in advance. And then I have this little pouch made by Penny Hyde, who's a member of our community. The cards fit perfectly in the little pouch, and then they're all in order. So each day I just pick out the word, I pick out the card, and they already match and they're already set up. So I cut those all out in advance. I also have the Snapshot Cards cut up in advance, and these I use to make pockets in my prayer book. And so I make a pocket with the core snapshot card, I make a pocket with the questions to consider card. That way they're right here in the front of the prayer book, and I can refer back to them all the time. So these things I do all of these things before the first of the month. Cut up, put in order, cut up, put into the front of the book, and I refer back to these over and over and over again as the month unfolds. The snapshot cards really are meant to anchor you into the practice, to deepen into the practice, to root into the practice, and to reaffirm for yourself the messages of the month. Then I have my Seriously bookmark, and so I tuck that into the pocket, and then later I'll use that in the book. In the back, I have the other support cards as pockets in the back, like that as well. And then I have back here by the Simple and Sacred affirmation prayer, and this is a prayer that I offer each morning as, again, a reaffirmation, a touchstone, etc. I have the other cards in there too. So as the month goes on, more things will get tucked in. Both of them are pockets. And so as the month goes on, more things will get tucked into those pockets and the book will expand. In the front, I use the word of the month card to make a little pocket as well. Normally, like I said, these will have prompts written here. This one I'm using an anytime use prayer book, so the prompts are going to get filled in as I choose from the word deck for the month. In the little pocket, I put, this time I have my Earth Runes miniature cards in there, but I usually have the Cut Your Own Rune set that's in the back, oops, of the book, the little printable. These are actually available from the Woman Runes 101 page 2, or they're in the back of the prayer books. And so I cut those up and I tuck them in there. So then every day when I go to choose a rune, it's right there in the pocket and it's ready to use. So this is really, this process is really about making a simple and sacred process, an easy, nourishing, available container that creates this tiny temple space right where you are. And it's really grab and go. It's ready to accompany you throughout your day. There's not a bunch of stuff to get out. There's not a bunch of things to sort through. It's all ready to support you. So the other thing I do in advance is we have our Goddess of the Month, and we have our Goddess Guidance Club packet. And so I cut out and assemble that. So in this case, I have Circe's our Goddess of the Month, so I have her already, and I form it into a little packet like this. This creates kind of a ritual little bundle that, again, you can refer back to. So I have the miniature version of the cards tucked in so that I can refer back to those and make it be an easy accompaniment to the day of practice. And then that's in there. And then what will happen with her is that as I move through the days of the month, she will move along with me. So I just keep her tucked in the current page, and then the next day I move her to the next page. And then periodically I reread the message on the back. I reread the little prayers in the card. Again, it's a way of coming back home, of checking back in, of touching base with your practice. So that's what I have to get everything all set up and make it easy to use. And so then at the beginning of each day, I pick my rune, I look at what the word is. In this case, I'll be choosing the word and seeing what it is, but you'll have your words already in order and you'll know what they are. And then I turn to the moon wheel and I enter. So we're at the dark moon right now. So I put the date in, I draw the rune in here, put any other little cycle notes or anything like that up there. And then I turn to the next page. I put the date, I put the word of the day. Later in the day, towards the evening, I will fill in the magic moment, the thing that I noticed that inspired me and touched and helped me touch into the everyday magic. If you're using this, you can use this as a word of the year note too. So perhaps your word of the year is trust, and you can write down something that inspired trust in you, or the way that you came back home to trust. You can put that in there. I fill out the moon phase. I save the mood for later too. So I do my magic moment later in the day and I do my mood later in the day. I put the rune of the day in the little box, and then I write inspired by the prompt. So if the prompt is resonance, I let myself sit. I'm always outside, and so I sit. But you can sit at an altar, you can be on a yoga mat, you can be in a bed, you can, find the power spot that works for you. But I sit with the word of the day and I let myself feel into it. I let myself listen to that word, and then I write a poem or a prayer or a blessing inspired by that word. If writing is not your thing, you can always choose a prayer card, either from the cutting out your own from the back, or from a printed deck, and then just glue it down there. And then you have your blessing and prayer. I've done a whole prayer book this way, where you stick the little card in there, and that enables you to consider it, to ponder it, to think about it, to marinate with it, to let it soak into you, to let it inspire you, to let it nourish you. And you can stick the card right there, or you can write something new. So I usually write all over this whole thing. I do not care about crossing the lines. I don't care about going sideways and writing all over here. And then I just glue stuff over it later, and I make a collage page with the word, and I put the card in the pocket, and I put my daily message either here, glued it down, or I glue it here over the words. I don't care if the words are covered up, because I transcribe them every day, so they're all saved somewhere else. So I just glue right over them, and that doesn't bother me. It might bother other people, but it's fine for me. And then stickers, art, pictures, etc. And then so this page becomes filled up with collage by the end of the day. And so that is the way that I keep my daily practice really grab and go right here, right where it can hold me, support me, nourish me, and keep me engaged and connected. Then another thing that I do is I have my little bag here, which I've shown in other videos, but in the bag I keep my replenished book. If you have 365 Days of Goddess, it's perfect too. So after I've written something new for the day, I then turn to the appropriate page in the book. It's kind of stuck on something right now. I probably fold it up. I turn to the appropriate page in the book, and then I will either read it out loud or to myself. And that's another little touchstone. I always then read that prayer again before I go to bed at night. So I carry the little bag with me, and I will read the prayer to myself in the morning. I often offer it out loud, and then I read it to myself again at night. And also in the little bag are the January Snapshot cards, so I can page back through them. And also in there are past cards from past replenish retreats that I've done. And also in the bag are so there's past replenish cards, there's other cards to color, there's also the full set of goddesses for 2025 in there, kind of holding space. I still have the goddesses from 2024 in there too, kind of holding hands, marinating together in the little bag. But it just makes it really easy. The less you have to get out and the less you have to keep find where it is, the better in terms of supporting and nurturing a daily practice. So having the little cards all together in the bag means I can read the prayer after I write, and I can check back in with the little cards and touch base with those. And then I did want to briefly touch on the new Year of Goddess Magic book. So some people are only using this book instead of the daily practice prayer book. I'm using both of them. But in terms of setting that one up, in the front pockets here, I have the January snapshot plus the January card that comes with 365 Days of Goddess. I have the Simple and Sacred Affirmation prayer. I have my extra Circe bookmark. I have my extra Circe card. And she is different because I do two of these each month. One is the ones that are with the cards that are included with the packet, and one is spontaneously chosen from the other resources that I've created. Then I have my miniature Omen Days card set in there too, to remind me of the connection to the previous year and the omens from that. And then I have the larger version of that as well. And so they'll both travel with me through this month. And so they're all in there in the pocket. Those are just clear index card holders that I use for pockets. Got that idea from Saray. Then I have some other notes and things that I want to use. So I have my notes for the next time I do a Monday live community practice. I just tuck things that I'm using in the front of the book. And then I haven't colored much in here yet, but there's a monthly section. And so as the month unfolds, I will continue working and coloring and adding things here and thinking about the ideas and putting in pieces. And then I often don't write a lot of new stuff here because I write so many things other places, but I glue in little bits of inspiration. And then we have these. I do use these for like core goals and core ideas for the month, so that I will be using. And then we have the daily card place. And so you can choose to either use your prayer of the day or your word of the day. If you're only using this book instead of one of the other daily practice books, you probably want to put your word there, but you might want to put your prayer there, whatever feels good to you. You can do that. And so this is new for me to be working with this one, and I'm planning to use these daily little boxes as a check-in at the very end of the night. So the prayer book is at the beginning where I write new content and touch base and connect, and then this will be like my review at the end of the day. I will fill that out. So that is pretty much how I get myself set for a simple and nourishing daily practice that fits my life. Again, a reminder to you that your practice can look much simpler or even more elaborate, depending on what best suits your needs. But really, the true power of daily practice is in creating something that's just the right size. So small enough to nurture you and support you, but big enough to make room for your magic, big enough to hold you and encourage you and inspire you too. So small enough to be doable, small enough to hold you gently, and also large enough to make room for your own expansiveness, your own power, your own magic, your own discovery, and your own inspiration. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to let me know the practices that work best for you in the comments. And I look forward to continuing to share space with you as we explore and share in 2025. Thanks so much for being here. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.